She thought her daughter was dead, but a human changed everything. In war, enemies kill. But this time, an enemy chose to save. She wanted revenge, until she saw who carried her daughter alive. One human stood against war, to protect a life that wasn't his. The battlefield was silent now. Hours ago, this place was full of screams, fire, and war. Now, only smoke moved in the cold wind. Weapons lay broken. Ships burned in the distance. The ground was black, and the air smelled like metal, dust, and death. Verana walked slowly through it. She was a commander. A warrior feared across many systems. Her species was known for strength, discipline, and honor. They did not break. They did not cry. They did not fear death. But today, Verana felt something she never felt before. Fear. Not fear for herself, but fear for her daughter. Lyra. Lyra was young, skilled, and brave. She was one of the best soldiers in their army. Many believed she would one day lead their people. But now, she was missing. The last sound Verana heard from her daughter was a scream through the radio, desperate, terrified, and cut off suddenly. That scream replayed in Verana's mind with every step she took. She scanned the battlefield with sharp eyes. Bodies, armor, and broken machines surrounded her. Every shadow made her heart pound harder. She whispered quietly, almost breathless. "Lyra, where are you?" Her voice cracked, something she would never allow in front of anyone. But there was no army, no soldiers, no witnesses. Only ruin. Her boots stopped in front of a pile of shattered metal. Something shiny caught her eye. Slowly, she bent down and lifted the object. It was a piece of armor. Lyra's armor. There were claw marks, burns, and a deep crack where a blast had hit. The metal smelled like burned smoke and blood. Verana's hands trembled, not from weakness, but from rage and grief. She forced herself to breathe. A warrior must stay calm. But a mother could not. Her eyes followed the marks in the dirt, then she saw it. A dark scorch mark burned deep into the ground, surrounded by scattered debris. A sign of an explosion. Her heart stopped. "No," she whispered. To her people, such a mark meant only one thing: a soldier had fallen. Disintegrated. Lost forever. Verana closed her eyes. She placed her hand over her daughter's broken armor and bowed her head. To anyone else, it would look like a warrior honoring the dead. But inside, Verana shattered. She remembered Lyra as a child, laughing, training, proud to follow her mother. She remembered her bright eyes, full of dreams and fire. Now all that was gone. But before grief could drown her, something pulled her eyes forward. A trail. At first, she thought it was more damage from the explosion. But no, these marks were different. They were footprints. But not alien. Not from her species. These were smaller. Softer. Different shoe pattern. Different weight. Human. Her eyes narrowed. Humans were rivals. Not trusted. Not welcome. They fought differently, using strategy, empathy, and stubborn will. Some called them weak. Some called them dangerous. Most called them unpredictable. But why would a human be here? Her mind raced. Did a human kill Lyra? Did they take her body? Did they want something? Or, was Lyra still alive when they found her? Verana tightened her grip on her weapon. If a human touched her daughter, she would make them pay. Revenge burned inside her, stronger than grief. She followed the footprints, slow at first, then faster. The wind howled. Loose dust swirled around her. The battlefield felt endless. Then she stopped. She heard something. At first, she thought it was the wind, but no. This was different. A sound. Soft. Weak. A cry. Her heart jumped. She ran. Her feet slammed against metal and stone. She moved like a rushing storm, fast, unstoppable. The sound grew louder. Painful. Struggling. Then she saw an entrance. A bunker, old and half buried under debris. A broken warning sign flickered weak light above the doorway. She stepped closer. And then she froze. There, standing in the entrance, was a human soldier. His armor was damaged. His helmet cracked. Dirt and blood covered his face. He looked tired, almost ready to collapse. But none of that mattered. Because in his arms lay Lyra. Alive. Her daughter's head rested on the human's shoulder. Her breathing was weak, shallow, but real. A pulse. Life. Verana's heart raced. She raised her weapon instantly, fury burning in her eyes. The human did not move. He did not reach for his gun. He did not act like an enemy. Instead, he held Lyra carefully, almost protectively, as if she was precious. Slowly, he met Verana's eyes. His voice was calm. Soft. Almost gentle. I didn't let her die. The battlefield wind grew quiet. For the first time in her life, Verana did not know whether to kill, or thank him. The screen fades to black. Suspense. The wind howled through the ruined battlefield as Verana stood frozen, weapon raised. Her mind screamed with rage and confusion. Her daughter was alive, but in the arms of a human. That sight felt wrong. Humans were enemies. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were the reason many of her soldiers fell in this war. But now, one stood before her, holding the most precious thing in her life. Lyra. Verana's voice was low and sharp as a blade. Give her to me. The human did not move. His breathing was heavy. His arms shook, not from fear, but exhaustion. He spoke slowly, as if every word cost him strength. If I move her wrong, she might not survive. I carried her for hours. Her wounds are deep. His voice was tired but calm. Not scared. Not defensive. Just honest. That honesty made Verana even more tense. Enemies were supposed to lie. To deceive. To use weakness as a weapon. But this human, he seemed different. Still, she took a threatening step forward. Put her down. Now. The human finally lowered Lyra, carefully, gently, onto a broken metal panel on the ground. The movement was precise, almost practiced, as if he had done this many times before for someone else. Once Lyra was safe, the human raised his empty hands slowly, showing he had no weapon drawn. Verana rushed forward and knelt beside her daughter. She placed 2 fingers on Lyra's throat. A pulse. Weak, but steady. A breath escaped Verana, almost a sob. She touched Lyra's cheek with a trembling clawed hand. For the first time in her life, a tear slipped down her face. The human watched silently. He did not interrupt. He did not speak. After a long moment, Verana stood and stared at him with eyes full of fire. What did you do to her? The human shook his head gently. I saved her. She stepped closer, her voice rising. Why? Humans do not save us. They kill us. His reply came without hesitation. She was bleeding. Alone. Scared. No soldier, human or alien, should die alone. Those words hit her harder than any weapon. Her people prided themselves on strength. On victory. On honor. Humans prided themselves on something else. Compassion. She hated that she could see truth in his eyes. But she did not trust him. Not yet. Her tone remained cold. "What is your name, human?" He hesitated for a second, then answered. "Ethan Grant. 7th Terran Rescue Unit." Verana narrowed her eyes. Rescue Unit. A strange title for someone in the middle of a battlefield. He noticed her confusion and spoke again. "I'm not here to fight. My job is to save wounded soldiers, no matter which side they're on." Verana almost laughed, but the sound never escaped her lips. Save enemies? That was madness. Then Ethan reached into his belt pouch slowly, careful not to trigger aggression, and pulled out a small device. A medical scanner. He nodded toward Lyra. "She has internal bleeding. If we don't get her to shelter and treat her properly, she will die within hours." Verana clenched her jaw. The words felt like a knife. She wanted to deny them. She wanted to believe she could fix everything alone. But deep inside, she knew he was right. Lyra's breathing was shallow. Her skin had turned pale. She was fading. Ethan continued softly. "There's an abandoned medical outpost 12 kilometers from here. I was heading there. I can help her, but I can't do it alone." Then he met Verana's gaze with steady eyes. "You can kill me after she's safe, if that's what you want." Silence swallowed the bunker. Only Lyra's weak breathing filled the space. Verana's instinct screamed, "Don't trust him." But her heart whispered another truth. Without him, Lyra would die. Finally, she lowered her weapon. Not fully. Just enough. "Fine," she growled. "But hear me clearly, human, if you betray me, if you hurt her, if you lie, I will make your death slow." Ethan nodded without fear. "I understand." Together, they lifted Lyra, Ethan supporting her head, Verana holding her body. Their movements were clumsy at first, like two predators forced to work together. Outside, the battlefield was quiet, but not safe. Drones hummed in the distant sky, searching for survivors. Ethan whispered. "We shouldn't walk in the open. They'll detect movement." He reached into his pack and pulled out a thin metallic cloak. When he activated it, the surface shimmered like liquid silver. A stealth field. Verana stared, surprised. Humans had advanced technology, more advanced than many believed. He draped the cloak over Lyra and half over both of them. "Stay close. Don't fall behind." For the next hours, they moved through ruin and shadow, two enemies forced into a fragile alliance. Whenever danger approached, Ethan shielded Lyra first. Whenever Verana sensed a threat, she stepped forward like a living weapon. Neither trusted the other. Yet neither walked away. With every step, Verana's thoughts burned. Why would a human risk his life for my daughter? The answer was hidden, deep, mysterious, and terrifying. And before this journey ended, Verana would discover it. The journey to the abandoned medical outpost felt endless. Verana and Ethan moved quietly through the broken landscape. Smoke still rose from the ruins, and the sky was dark with ash. Every sound felt louder than it should, every crunch of stone, every breath, every rustle of wind. Lyra remained between them, weak and unconscious. Sometimes she moved. Sometimes she whispered nonsense, broken words, memories, pain. Each time she whispered, Verana's heart tightened. She wished she could hold her daughter close. But right now, survival mattered more. Ethan checked his scanner as they walked. "Her heartbeat is unstable," he murmured. "We need to hurry." Verana gritted her teeth. "We are moving fast." Ethan shook his head. "Not fast enough." There was no anger in his tone, only urgency. But Verana didn't like being told she wasn't doing enough. Her people led. They never followed. So she spoke with cold force. If you speak again like you command me, human, I will break your legs and carry you instead. Ethan didn't argue. He simply nodded. Fair enough. After 2 hours of silence, the ground beneath them shook, soft at first, then stronger. Ethan stopped suddenly. Verana felt it too. Heavy steps, metal steps, coming closer. War machines. Enemy drones. She grabbed Ethan's arm and pulled him behind a collapsed wall. They crouched low, holding Lyra carefully between them. Through the cracks in the rubble, Verana saw it. A massive automated drone walker, 6 legs, glowing sensors, and weapons ready. It scanned the battlefield for survivors. Anyone found would be marked as a threat and eliminated. Ethan whispered. They upgraded the patrol units, those weren't in deployment last month. Verana glared. You talk too much. But Ethan's eyes narrowed thoughtfully, not offended, but calculating. There's one blind spot, he muttered. Under the belly armor, if I get close enough, I can shut it down. Verana stared at him like he had lost his mind. You try that, you will die. He gave a small tired smile. I've done it before. Verana's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. You are not risking your life again. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Are you giving me orders now? No, Verana hissed. My daughter still needs you. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Ethan slowly nodded. Then we wait. Quiet. Minutes crawled slowly. The machine stopped near their hiding place. Its search beam swept across broken structures. It paused, too close. Verana held her breath. Ethan placed a steadying hand on Lyra's back. The drone scanned again. Then, finally, it continued walking and faded into the distance. They did not move until the sound disappeared completely. When the danger passed, Verana looked at Ethan, not as an enemy, but as someone who understood fear, loss, and survival. Human, she said quietly. Why did you come to this war if your unit is rescue? Why risk your life for strangers? For the first time since they met. Ethan hesitated. His voice was softer now. Honest. Heavy. Because, years ago, I lost someone too. Verana's eyes narrowed but she listened. My little sister. She was only 12. A battle hit our colony. I was too far away. By the time I reached her, it was too late. His jaw clenched. If someone had been there, someone like me, maybe she would still be alive. Verana looked at him for a long moment. This human wasn't driven by war. He was driven by regret. And that made him dangerous, not to her, but to himself. They began walking again, faster now, urgency pushing their steps. Soon, they saw the outline of the old medical outpost, rusted metal walls, broken lights, and a collapsed tower. It looked abandoned, but not completely dead. Almost there, Ethan said. But the moment he stepped forward, Verana grabbed his shoulder. Her senses caught movement. Not machines. Not drones. Soldiers. A squad of enemy troops patrolled in front of the outpost, armed and alert. If they saw Lyra, or the human, neither side would survive. Ethan whispered. We can't fight them. Not with her like this. Verana nodded slowly. Then we do not fight. Her eyes studied the area carefully, every rock, every shadow, every possible path. Finally, she pointed to a narrow crack in the metal wall. There. A maintenance shaft. Ethan frowned. Are you sure? Verana gave him a sharp look. I know these structures. I trained in them when I was younger. That path leads inside unseen. Ethan nodded. Together, they crawled toward the shaft, moving slow and silent. The soldiers' voices echoed in the distance, but did not notice them. Inside, the shaft was dark, narrow, and cold. Metal scraped against armor as they squeezed through. Lyra groaned in pain. Ethan whispered softly. "Almost there, Lyra. Stay with us." At last they reached a door. Ethan hacked the lock with a small device. The door slid open with a soft click. Inside was a dusty but intact medical room, equipment, beds, supplies. Hope. Ethan gently placed Lyra on the table and activated the lights. Machines hummed to life, old, but functional. Verana stood beside her daughter like a silent guard. Ethan prepared tools with steady hands. "This will hurt her, but it will save her." Verana nodded once. "Do it." Ethan inserted an injector into Lyra's side. Lyra screamed, loud, raw, full of agony. Then something happened. Her eyes snapped open, wild, confused, terrified. And she didn't look at Ethan. She looked at her mother. "Mother," she whispered. Then her eyes widened, even more than before. Because she finally noticed Ethan. Her voice shook with fear. "Mother, he's not alone." Verana froze. Ethan turned quickly. From the shadows behind them. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Another figure stepped forward. Human. Armored. But not part of Ethan's rescue unit. A patch on the shoulder read. Terran Black Ops, Retrieval Division. The soldier raised his weapon and spoke with a cold voice. "Step away from the girl. She belongs to us now." Verana's heart turned to fire. Ethan's face went pale. And everything they thought they understood changed. The room fell into deadly silence. The new human soldier stepped fully into the light, helmet on, visor glowing red, weapon aimed directly at Lyra. His armor was different from Ethan's rescue uniform, heavily reinforced, built for combat and elimination, not saving lives. His voice echoed with cold control. Target recovered. Mission complete. Verana stepped in front of her daughter instantly, eyes burning with fury. "No one touches her." The soldier didn't react. Instead, he tilted his head slightly, like analyzing a threat. "Alien female, step aside. Your daughter carries something valuable." Ethan stepped forward, shaking his head. "No. Stop. She's not cargo. She's a person." The soldier's gaze snapped to Ethan. "Ethan Grant. You abandoned your mission. You interfered with classified research. And now, you protect the test subject." Verana's hand tightened around her weapon. "Test subject?" Her voice was low, dangerous. Ethan swallowed hard. "I was going to tell you, just not like this." But the Black Ops soldier spoke first. "Her daughter carries a rare neural reaction, triggered only when exposed to human medicine and alien biology combined. She survived a weapon blast that should have killed her. That reaction is important to us." His voice was emotionless. "To the Terran Command, she is not a soldier. She is a sample." Lyra weakly lifted her head. Her voice was small. I don't want to be part of anything." Verana reached for her daughter's hand. "You won't be." Ethan stepped between them and the soldier, his body shielded Lyra, even though he knew he could die in one shot. "I won't let you take her." The soldier raised his weapon without hesitation. "You don't get to decide." In one smooth, practiced motion, Verana lunged forward and knocked the gun aside. A blast shot past her head and burned into the wall. Ethan jumped back, grabbing Lyra's bed and rolling it behind equipment for cover. The room erupted into chaos. The soldier fired again. Verana dodged, fast and fierce, moving like a predator. She slammed into him with her shoulder, sending him crashing into a medical table. Metal clattered. The lights flickered. Ethan searched frantically. A weapon. Anything. Finally, he grabbed a tool, an old plasma saw. It wasn't meant for combat, but it could cut. Meanwhile, the soldier recovered quickly and kicked Verana hard in the chest. She slid backward but didn't fall. She charged again. Their fight was brutal, claws against armor, fists against metal. The soldier grabbed her wrist and twisted hard, but Verana headbutted him, cracking his visor. Sparks. A snarl escaped her throat. No one touches my daughter. The soldier shoved her away and aimed again. Ethan didn't have time to think. He rushed forward and slammed the plasma tool into the soldier's arm. Sparks exploded. The weapon fell from the soldier's grip. The soldier grabbed Ethan by the throat and lifted him off the ground. Ethan choked, his legs kicking helplessly. Verana saw it happen, and rage exploded inside her. She grabbed the fallen rifle. The moment Ethan's body began to drop, she fired. Once. Twice. 3 shots. The soldier stumbled backward, then collapsed to his knees. His voice crackled through damaged speakers. This isn't over. The humans will come. Then he fell forward, silent. Dead. For a long moment, nobody moved. Only Ethan's painful breathing filled the room. Verana lowered the weapon slowly. Lyra whispered weakly. Mother. Ethan, is he okay? Verana knelt beside him, checking his neck. No broken bones, just bruising. Ethan coughed and gave a tired half-smile. I'm still here. Lyra closed her eyes in relief. But peace did not last long. Outside the bunker, engines roared. Multiple engines. Dropships. Ethan's expression shifted from relief to dread. They're coming. More soldiers. More black ops. Verana looked down at her daughter, still injured, still weak. We cannot fight them all. Ethan nodded slowly. No. But we can run. He hurried to the control panel and began typing rapidly. What are you doing? Verana asked. Ethan didn't look up. Overriding the bunker's power core. When it overloads, it will create an EMP blast. Verana understood instantly. That would disable nearby machines, drones, ships. But not kill. Not destroy life, only buy them time. Ethan looked at her finally. You and Lyra escape through the maintenance tunnels. They lead to the mountains. I'll hold them off and trigger the blast. Verana stared at him, shocked. No. You come with us. Ethan gave a small sad smile. If I leave now, they'll track us. They'll find us. They won't stop. Lyra whispered. Ethan, please. He touched her shoulder gently. You once told me your people value loyalty. Honor. Lyra nodded weakly. Ethan continued softly. I follow that now. Verana clenched her fists. Human, you saved her. I cannot let you die. Ethan shook his head. No. I'm not dying. Just giving you both a chance. He pressed a final command. The countdown began. 90 seconds. A loud alarm echoed through the bunker. Verana placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder, firm, almost respectful. You are not our enemy. Ethan looked at her. And you are not mine. Lyra stretched out her hand toward him, weak but determined. Thank you. Ethan took her hand and squeezed gently. Live, Lyra. That's enough. Verana lifted Lyra carefully and moved toward the tunnel entrance. Just before leaving, she looked back one last time. Ethan stood tall, facing the locked bunker doors, weapon in hand, ready. A lone soldier against an army. Not for glory. Not for victory. but for compassion. For a life he refused to abandon. The tunnel door closed behind them. The last thing Verana heard was Ethan's calm whisper. "I don't leave people behind." Then, boom! A shockwave shook the earth. The sky lit with electric light. Drones fell from the air. Engines died. And the world went silent. Hours later, under a new sky and far from danger, Verana and Lyra reached the mountains. Lyra lay resting, breathing stronger now. Verana stared at the horizon. For the first time in her life, she whispered a prayer. Not for her people. Not for victory. But for one human. Ethan Grant. Hero. Enemy. Friend. And somewhere, deep inside her heart, she hoped he survived. Because the galaxy had changed. Forever. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another HFY Sci-Fi story.